Hey guys, this podcast is going to be something really different. This is an essay I wrote for my religion class where I basically just go over what my worldview is. It's one of my favorite essays that I've had to write. It was really interesting for me to write it. If you guys enjoy this, please let me know, and I'll produce more of these. Enjoy. Perhaps there is more. My father, my mother, and I all have different last names. We don't celebrate birthdays much. Our holidays are a little dull, and there isn't any true religious leaning in my home. This lack of tradition and familial continuity has shaped me greatly. Being brought up in a home that lacked tradition made me want to cultivate a familial tradition of my own. I was raised to be a skeptic, my mom a student of the humanities, and my father a scientist. I was taught to analyze ideas and take them apart until they were truly understood. Thus, I've always seen religion as a little ridiculous. A myth to control people. A series of fables used to bend the will of large numbers of people. It wasn't until I looked deeper that I realized the error in my judgment of religion. It would be fair to say that I have been, for the majority of my young life, an atheist. Believing that there is no higher God. Believing that there is no religion that, quote-unquote, got it right. As this was my judgment, I felt religion had little to no value and should be cast aside as a remnant of past civilizations. It wasn't until I read *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari that I realized the pertinence of religious ideology. In this book, Harari tries to understand how Homo sapiens have evolved into the world leaders we are today. Harari compares Homo sapiens to the Neanderthals, illuminating why Homo sapiens wiped out the Neanderthals. Harari came to the conclusion that Homo sapiens emerged victorious because of their ability to organize in larger groups than the Neanderthals. The Neanderthals could organize in groups no larger than hundreds because they had no way of expressing a team goal. On the other hand, the Homo sapiens used myths to organize thousands of people into a cohesive group. This ability to come together is a unique trait and is, in fact, what makes us stand out from other beings. Without our ability to operate in large groups using myths and religious ideology, who is to say that the Neanderthals wouldn't have wiped us out or continued to coexist along with us? Religion has been used throughout human history to bring people together towards a common goal. My original judgment of religion, I now see, was shallow. I only saw religion for what it was and neglected what it could do. Religion is the strongest galvanizing force in human history. It can be a book of fables, an oral tradition, or a written one, and it can make great things possible. Truthfully, the world we know today is built upon myths. Multinational corporations and the ideas of countries, even the brands on our clothes are myths. Ford does not exist. It is just an idea. The cars they make exist, sure. The people who make the cars exist, and the machines used to make the cars exist. Yet, what is Ford really? If you were to ask somebody if Ford exists, they would respond with, of course, or clearly. Yet when you ask them what Ford is, they will tell you Ford is a car company. But what is a company? The sum of its parts? Cars and people? The ideas we understand to be our realities are often myths. But this shouldn't diminish its value. In fact, it should inspire an admiration of the myth. It holds our societies together. I describe religious ideology in a very utilitarian manner. While it is true that it is indeed useful, I have this sense that it is more than that. I cannot fathom how humans all across the world, thousands and thousands of miles and years apart, came to such similar conclusions. There seems to be some deeper truth that all humans know. Perhaps over time we've lost touch with that. In the natural world, nearly all things find themselves distributed in a very particular manner. This phenomenon is observed in science and has been denoted the normal curve. The normal curve distribution, also referred to as the bell curve, is a universal distribution found in almost all natural phenomena. How can there be such a universal scientific truth if there isn't a higher order of being? To my understanding, this seems the most likely truth. There is a greater being, or at least a higher order, that governs our reality. In the introduction to my essay, I mentioned my upbringing having a strong influence on my behavior. My lack of tradition led me to be weary of religion. My skepticism forced me to look deeper into religion. And now, I come out with a new understanding of the world. No human is smart enough to understand life. Luckily, we don't have to understand it. We just have to function in it. In order to function, we must simplify our lives as best we can. One of the best ways to eliminate variability is by utilizing tradition and myth to gather large groups under one goal. Yet there seems to be more to the world than its functionality. If all that mattered was functionality, why would beauty seem so sacred? Why have regimes gone bankrupt in order to construct grand buildings? Why do people devote their lives to religion, monks and nuns? It seems to me there is more. There is something governing the happenings of our very complex reality. Perhaps when I pass I will finally know the truth of it, but for now I can only offer my hypothesis. Perhaps only one of the religions is right, and perhaps I have made a grievous error in my conclusion. Yet, this remains my worldview. Thank you.